You're going to face a lot of young men in your life. You've got a long journey ahead of you because, while your dad did a lot for you, you're going to have to make it on your own. This world we live in is tough, it's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life we live in is the ultimate competitor. The world is tough, and it will try to take you out. It will find your weaknesses, and it will hammer you. So, it's time to get back to work. Get back to work. Stop hearing yourself talk, get off the podcast, don't be on social media too much, and cut out all the unnecessary noise. Get back to the mental lab because that's where the knowledge comes from. You need to get to a point in your life where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons, you've listened to your past traumas, and you've been able to say, okay, now I can talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kills people nowadays. In their minds, it kills them from moving forward. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, and make it better. Everything I need is in my mental lab because I'm in constant study of myself. I know what needs to be conquered because I'm constantly going through what I don't like, what I'm not comfortable with. I know, and only I can fix these problems because I have to face them. Unchosen suffering is going to happen, so the only thing you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it. It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can practice for the unchosen suffering, have chosen suffering. Do something that sucks every day. I'm not trying to send a message of running 200 miles or being the baddest person in the world, but be tough. You better have a part of you that's tough, a part of you that can break down situations and get better, and break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life. Because it's going to come, the devastation, the trauma is going to come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier, it has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness. A lot of people, when you die, they figure out why you died. They figure out how you died in the autopsy, but we never do a live autopsy to figure out why we're dying while we are alive. I was dying. I was living every day, but I was really dead. And so, I figured it out, and once I figured it out, I was able to be reborn. I was able to be reborn. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this. It's knowledge, so I'm just trying to give people that strength to go into the archives of your life. Because while you're probably up, it's probably something that happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now. You need to be better here, you need to be better here, you need to overcome this, overcome that. And I know people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket, there's no 5K, there's no, I'm going to get into school to be this or that, and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is that one day, that thing is going to come up, and if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing that we're all looking for, but what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform, but we don't take a second to realize that the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So, if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research. Why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, to better oneself. So, that's the only purpose I need. The reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school, there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid who struggled in life. And that kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out, and he would quit. So, I realized this over a period of time, and I had to build Goggins. And in that process, that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better. So, it's important to stay hungry, but it's more important to stay humble within that hunger. So, while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, humility is everything. What was that story about William Crawford, the janitor? Yeah, so this guy won the Medal of Honor, the highest award in the military, and he went to the Air Force Academy, and he was a janitor. No one knew who this man was. He had the highest award in all the military for heroics, for saving lives, putting his life on the line, and he could have been killed. And now, he's basically cleaning toilets for young kids. We can all imagine how that probably went. There's probably some taunting here and there, and he just sat there and cleaned the toilets. That's why he's in my trained humility part, because for this man to be at the level he was and have that kind of humility to say, I'm a Medal of Honor winner, but I'm going to put that in my closet, and I'm going to pick up my broom and dustpan, and I'm going to pick up this rag and clean the toilets for these young men, that right there is amazing for me. That's where you grow. That's huge growth. And also, it shows that he was doing his job. He was a servant. He didn't look at himself any better than anybody else. The second you do that, you're totally lost. You cannot look at yourself like people with me. Even I always look at people. I know where you are. I know where you've been because I've been there. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So, I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon because I've been there so many times. You have to be your best self even when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that motivation. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind about where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there because I'm not always going to be motivated. Jocko said the exact same thing. He said that discipline needs motivation for breakfast. And discipline is good too, but without a clear headspace, there's no discipline. What do I mean? Let's say we have a circuit breaker, and I'm loading everything up to one circuit. Just load it up. It's going to blow. And once that thing blows, the circuit is fried. You've got to have each thing plugged into the right spot. Like a crowded garage, you can't put anything in it. Once your brain is crowded, discipline is great, motivation is great, but if you can't fit it in your brain because it's all cluttered with nonsense, there's no discipline. You may have it sometimes when it fits in that crowded garage of your mind, but you don't have the consistency that you need to have with that discipline. I call it mental zones. You're organized in your mind so you can put that discipline. A lot of people talk about discipline. Okay, great. Why do you fall off the wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine, going to the gym, being better, waking up early, eating the right foods? It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your brain. You don't have it compartmentalized and organized in these nice shelves. A lot of people's brains are like, hey, where's my ADHD? Let me look. They're throwing things, they're looking through totes, they're all over the place. So, where am I going to put discipline in that mind if I can't find other things? You've got to be able to find all these different things in your mind. Oh, I can put discipline right there. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little piece of outside interference to clutter your whole mind. Your mind has to always be clear. That's why I meditate 2 hours every single night because I refresh. I reorganize the garage, which is my mind, every night. So then, discipline is in there, organization is in there, everything is in the right spot. I'm waking up, and I'm giving myself all this armor so when I come out into the world, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late, I'm not rushing around, I'm not disorganized. So, when I wake up, I'm ready to go. Why is the truth so important? You have to have the truth to have a starting point. And your true self is found in that very uncomfortable zone. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, you will not find it. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim, and you're drowning. You're drowning. And then, you say, you know what? Screw this. Once you come face to face with who you are, you have a starting point. It's in our head, saying, you know what, man? Dude, you're not doing anything. You're wasting a bunch of percentage here. And the other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you've got to go through all of this. You're not succeeding, and you're not achieving because you're afraid to go into that dark place to find yourself. You're setting goals you know you can reach, and when you do that, that fear, that insecurity, that doubt, that's where you grow. You must always set goals that you think you cannot achieve, and in there, you get better. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, and your mind says no, you just say, this is what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, the amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go, every day, you must ask yourself, did I do enough? And then, once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. So, if you really want it, you realize what trying is and what trying is not. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that nonsense we have nowadays, your brain is the only thing you have. When you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life stuff, you can't Google that. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways. It wants to control you and pull you into these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain, and your brain controls you, you're done. You've got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You've got to control it. If not, it's over. It's over. All I knew back then was hard work. You've got to work hard. You've got to work hard. I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what's in this paragraph to pass this test to get into the military. Read it again. Still not getting it? Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back until it just becomes your mind, it will say, okay, we're going to figure it out. It'll find a way because he is not going to stop. It's not like, I'm going to try one more time. No, the alarm clock goes off, and we're going back. I can't read right? We're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that and said, okay, we're going to adapt and overcome. Now, that was my mindset, and that's how you get through things. You immerse yourself in wherever it is, and you become that. I became hell, and that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell, nothing.